Our passion didn't start with the mouth. It started with people, with the well-being of the profession. And if you're like me, maybe a little bit of your nerdiness in all things tech too. We all want to love what we do, but the truth is, burnout, people problems, and glass ceilings can keep us from doing what we set out to do. So let's get back to the heart of connection. Welcome to the Dental Handoff. This show is about passing you the knowledge, the habits, the systems, and the strategies to lead your teams, lean on the tech, and listen to your gut while you take care of teeth. And let's get honest, the overall health of our communities. Let's stop using the wrong end of the toothbrush, y'all. My name is Dr. Kelly Tanner. Oh, and uniquely, I'm a dental hygienist too. You can consider me a guru in the dental and leadership industry. With over 3 decades of experience, my goal is to take you to the next level by empowering growth, perspective, and confidence. By identifying the gaps, recognizing the plaque, and extracting the truth with other experts in the field. I'll share their stories, empower you to own yours, and elevate your passion in the process. So have a seat in the chair, put on your bib, and let's get to work. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Dental Handoff. Woo! All right. It is Tuesday. Hope you guys are crushing your week. I have a very special guest with me today. I only have special guests. You guys know this by now. Darius is with me, and he's going to tell us about his life, his experience in dentistry. I think it's so cool to hear everyone's entry point, like why they found dentistry, why dentistry found them. They kind of nudged them on the shoulder, tapped him and said, hey, you come along to dentistry, and what that story has been about. And of course, you guys all always know that we have to bring out like that team, how we are empowering each other throughout our day-to-day activities, and how we're giving back and what it is we're doing that gives back to serve others. So Darius, welcome to the Dental Handoff. Thank you for being with us.
It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Dr. Tanner.
Yeah, it's Darius and I met each other. It's so cool. I've said this before on previous podcasts. The coolest thing about dentistry, and probably about any profession, but I just know and like dentistry, is that the connections that you make are just so meaningful because we're all in it for the same thing. And when I met Darius and he told me about Cloud Dentistry, it aligns so much with what next level dental hygiene does in so many ways. So I just had that affinity towards what you guys were doing, how you guys were serving your why and what you do. But before we get into that, our listeners always want to know, Darius, like, what about dentistry light you up? Like, why dentistry? Why did you choose dentistry?
It's stable, and there's so much room for improvement at the same time. We all may admit that dentistry is seen as 10 years behind all the other industries that are more mainstream, and technology is just starting to erupt within dentistry. You see all these opportunities that you can get involved with to not just make dentists and patients' lives easier, but just make the overall process smoother.
Yeah. And even when it comes to communication, gosh, you remember when we used to just had to talk with our phone? Now we can like type and communicate with our fingers. Before BlackBerry or any flip phone, technology has just bridged us all together in ways that I don't think we ever could have previously imagined. So with that, what is your background? Like, where did you start and how did you land in dentistry?
My story is somewhat unique and of an accident. I was 18 years old, 1998, and I needed to make an extra few bucks. So my dad gave me the idea to go and import, of all things, latex gloves. And so I took my bar mitzvah money that I had stuffed underneath my mattress, and I bought a container from overseas. During that time, it was easy to find manufacturers that had some sort of US-based operation. So I found it to be like a trustful way to pay a vendor to import a container of these gloves. And I was going door to door selling them. I had a pager back then, and cell phones are too expensive. I built a portfolio of business and relationships. That's really what it boiled down to, was like all the dental offices in the Los Angeles area. They knew me as like the kid that would deliver gloves after, my senior class was over. And I blossomed that business to a full-blown dental supply company. At one point, we ended up being asked for like one product after another, and we thought, okay, why not sell the bibs and the cements and the liners and everything else? And that company grew to doing about 15 million a year in business at the peak of what we were doing. It was a model where we were selling dental supplies and equipment, even a service department within our reach to dental offices by catalog, telephone means. There wasn't any boots on the ground, so we were able to provide like a low cost alternative to buying, the 2x2 and everything else that was needed. And we ended up being aqua hired by Banco Dental, the distributor in the Northeast. At the time, they needed to open up the Southern California market, and I knew the Cohen family, so we made a deal together where I started the territory out there. This was before they had like Center Point West, that big building with the showroom of all the tech equipment in Orange County, and all the reps they have now. And that was an interesting journey because I learned a lot about how corporate leadership functions on that side of the fence. Before, I was just busy growing my own business as an entrepreneur. I think at the most amount of employees we had was maybe 35. We had a warehouse in South Central LA that we were operating out of. It was a very interesting experience to say the least. And during my 3 years at Banco Dental, I saw another pain point in dentistry. I said, well, why doesn't the traveling dental specialist, the oral surgeon that pulls in $1 million to $2 million a year, whether they're working with GP practices or their own private practice, why don't they have someone that supports them as an agent? And that's when we came up with the idea of Pair Dental, the agency for the in-house 1099 specialists, where we come in and say, we'll handle everything from the matching process. We'll find you the surgeon, all the way to the credentialing, soup to nuts, supplies. We'll guide the whole process through at no upfront costs, because we didn't want to charge, the exorbitant fees that most recruiters do. And when I first started Paradental, a company by the name of Cloud Dentistry came about, and they had a website with the founder, one of the co-founders, Trey and Reza, on a park bench. They were just looking at each other, and they had a little disclaimer that said, we're creating a marketplace where specialists and staff of all kind can connect with dental offices with no fees. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, how is this possible? So I thought maybe I should reach out to them. I did just that. I built a friendship with Trey Tepiching, the CEO and co-founder of Cloud Dentistry. We became one of the original shareholders when they first opened up. And the relationship made a full circle where they're coming in to acquire us as a subsidiary. So my role with them today is head of business development, and that's been my journey in dentistry this whole time.
So you went from high school all the way to where you are now, and people would ask, how did you get there? How did you know that you could do that? What in you told you that you could do that?
I was very courageous in trying new things. I wasn't afraid to fail in trying new things. And at a certain point, you realize that in any business you're going to run, you have to be able to know how to market the business. If you don't market the business, it's not going to grow. So my strategy became trying new marketing strategies and applying more resources towards what works, and applying less or just discontinuing what doesn't work. And if you have that courage to just kind of like fall forward, as Denzel says, then you'd have the ability to try more new things, and it becomes a numbers game at the end of the day, right? If you do your best and just do it right and think about the process before you try to roll it out, you'll eventually win at doing, let's say, 5 out of 10 of them, right?
Right. Yeah. It's true. And then, but some average person, some like everyday person may feel discouraged by that too, of, oh, it didn't work the first time. It didn't work the fifth time. It didn't work the 10th time. And what you're describing is a lot of beta testing between marketing. You're saying, did this work? No, this worked better. This worked better here. This worked better here. But you still persisted because you believed in it. And I think that falling forward. I think my dad coined that before Denzel probably did. I'm just going to give
Oh,
him street cred on that one, Dad, if you're listening. And it's about that persistence and that grit, I think, that gets you through it. And it's something that is. Do you think that it's something that people can learn?
absolutely. But you got to be willing to try. That's the
Yeah.
key to behind it, right? I think you could learn anything as long as you're willing to try. And one major characteristic that I've noticed that any entrepreneur has, and when I say entrepreneur, I'm speaking to um, anybody that's trying to establish a footing in their career, whether it's a dental practice owner or a hygienist that's venturing out to become, let's say, an RDHAP. That footing, it requires the entrepreneurial persistency. Without that, you can't get very far. You'd have to get lucky, but it's like I think another person said, luck is where preparation meets something else. There's still some effort that goes into preparation, so you have to be persistent in that.
For sure. I just, sometimes when I talk to people, they're like, I'm just so stuck. I don't know where to go. I feel like I've tried everything. And I'm putting you on the spot here a little bit. Like, what would you tell that person who says that they've tried everything? Like, what did your friends say to you when you had tried like maybe 10 things and you were getting ready to go on your 11th thing? Was there something that someone said to you that would get you unstuck?
There's always another degree of separation that you could pivot. So you haven't tried everything. You can make a
Mm,
slight adjustment to maybe make a variation of it or just go a different direction. But whatever you do decide to do, just do it incrementally. Don't make a drastic decision going 180 degrees all of a sudden. Get to the 180 degrees by getting to the 175th degree 5 degrees at a time and try a different variation of it.
that's profound. That is so profound. Absolutely. I would 100% agree with that. It all happens in little bitty increments. Anything that we do, any habit that we want to form, any success we want to take action on, any relationship that we build, it happens incrementally most of the time. So that's brilliant. See, you're just a person that everybody can look up to on
Thank you
that.
so much.
But
I
I mean, but just
appreciate
think about, like, you went from selling gloves to being a part of this business that sold and then working for them, and then here you are with Cloud Dentistry. So, like, what with Cloud Dentistry, you said a little bit about it, about how it also helps to connect people. Tell us a little bit about that, and then how it helps team members, because this is what fascinated me.
Yeah, absolutely. I have so much admiration for what they built before I officially joined. I mean, I was alongside the way, kind of helping Trey with some advice here and there as we were growing things. Individually, I was focused on paradental, and of course, he was focused on cloud. But it's been a journey. Seeing what they've become and what they've grown to has left like a very much of like a admirable footprint in my eyes. What cloud dentistry is, it's a marketplace where offices and dental professionals can connect for work hire. Unlike these job boards like Indeed and ZipRecruiter, it's way more reliable. It's a fraction of the cost, and it's quick to use. They created basically a system where you can, as a professional, you don't have to deal with like a middleman contract that most recruiters or staffing agencies have, where they tend to police in between, and you keep 100% of your earnings. The office pays a nominal subscription fee, depending on the area and the term of the subscription, whether it's monthly or annual. It could range, I like to say, under $100 for the annual account. That will give you access to being able to message or book or create a job posting for any of the professionals. Keep in mind, there's a few thousand practices, let's say, at this point. I don't want to give you an official number on live air, but there's a few thousand practices that are actively using the subscription. Um, that's in addition to the close to 50,000 professionals that are on the platform. They are a very market-driven company, so they're not in everywhere yet. So offices that decide to come and purchase a plan, they're offering something called the Frontier package model, where for $10 per month, that's locked in for life. By the way, it's a reward program in the sense where they're trying to get early users to join as market builders in the area for the first 40 offices. So for $10 a month, they'll be able to be locked in to be part of the first set of offices that join. But the markets that they're very active in are Houston, Denver, San Antonio, Dallas, Phoenix, Los Angeles. We're starting to get up and running. I myself, I'm based in Great Neck, Long Island, New York. I'm also getting this market up and running too. And sorry if I went off base from your original question. If you need me to
No,
repeat
no,
part of
you're
your.
no. So, I mean, you're definitely touching on it because it's a place, it's a marketplace for everyone. And it sounds like that the benefit from the individual, from the healthcare provider, that the person who is looking for work, is that they get 100% of their money, right?
Yes.
And so that's awesome. You don't have a middle person to go through, and neither does the hiring entity. They don't have a middle person. So it's almost like a dating app, sort of, where you can, maybe that's a bad analogy, where you can directly message with or chat with that other individual to learn also their availability, and not just full day availability, but if they have like a few hours here and there.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other major effect that cloud dentistry has opened up. I like to call it. It's this unlocking of a fractional unit of time that the job posting boards weren't able to do. If I may share my screen, Dr. Tanner.
I think that you can. I haven't done a streamer. Let's do it.
Yep. Oh, perfect. So here we go. Perfect. All right. So can you see my screen here?
Let's see. 1 second. Here we go.
Yep. Do you see this?
Yes, I can see it.
This is the dashboard of a demo account in the eyes of Houston, Texas. You click here to find a professional. And let's say I'm looking for a hygienist. You can toggle between dental assistant, general dentist, front office, even specialist. And you go to search. I'm looking for a hygienist. Thousands of these professionals come up with their availability. So discussing what we were saying about that fractional unit of time that got opened up. With Indeed and the job boards, you're not able to say you're available on the 24th of June and be booked within these time frames, right? What you say is a more broad range that you're available part-time or so on and so forth. That's one major difference between the two. We consider ourselves more of a messaging and booking on demand platform, far beyond what all these other job boards are at. And it's the only one in dentistry that has such a thing available with all the features.
So you can this, and it's brilliant because I was thinking about too when I was in college and I was taking some classes, and some offices stay open till 7 p.m. Some dental offices do. So I still could have picked up work, like a 4-hour shift after I finished classes, but the average job board wouldn't allow me to do that. And so it provides more availability to me as that practitioner to say, oh, I can go pick up some extra hours here and there because I'm working or flexing life in different directions.
Exactly. You can just say, I'm willing to go work every Thursday and Friday after I drop off my son at school from hours X to Y. With job boards, you're not able to state that, so the offices aren't actively looking to hire you during those hours. It'd be unlikely that you'd find a job.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then two, I saw some stars on there. How does that work?
Yeah, so it's a peer-to-peer review system. So offices rate professionals and professionals rate offices. They're true reviews. So they would have to actually do a booking through the platform. Keeping in mind, you don't necessarily have to do the booking through the platform. This is just a way of connecting with one another. You can connect with one another and say, I'll meet you up at 8 o'clock tomorrow. First patient's at 8:30. We want you to meet the team first. Um, there's no restrictions in between two police.
It's cool because it does truly take out that middleman. I mean, I don't know if I told you this, but I used to own a consulting and recruiting company back in 2007 to 2009 or whatever. And I placed people permanently across the United States. And what became frustrating to individuals that they had to go through me. I was a liaison. And and it's nice to be able to have that because I'm a negotiator, but sometimes you just don't feel like you need that. If you're just looking for that direct contact, because that's sort of where we are now. It's like I want instant access. I want it, I want it, I want it. And people can now have that.
Yeah, and this way we don't have to worry about anybody cutting us out. It's just a subscription fee to get access to contacting all the professionals. We're opening up the free gig economy.
That's powerful. And so how do you feel like, in your opinion, that this connects teams differently? So, the premise of Dental Handoff is like connection, leadership, and all those things. So how do you feel like that this changes the landscape of what it is that you're offering?
So let's face it. Right now, the ADA Health Policy Institute came out with this report. I don't know if you saw it. It was their economic survey talking about in the beginning parts about the current condition of hiring and office needs. I think that if I recall correctly, forgive me if my numbers are off, but about a third of the country of dental practices is looking to hire right now. And within the age cohort group of 30 to 40, those professionals are 50% of them are either temping or part time, which is crazy if you think about it in terms of the statistics of the transiency in that, right? Now, what Cloud Dentistry is able to provide is these first office owners this sense of reliability that they can have someone come in for unplanned sicknesses and vacations or planned vacations to take over another team member's role so that the whole team's not stressed out, right? If I was a dental assistant working in an office and I knew about Cloud Dentistry, and Jill, the hygienist, just told our owner doctor that she's taken off for a few weeks because something happened, it's going to be a stressed out atmosphere, right? In order to avoid that, this is the only way that you can find someone reliable without having to go beg on Facebook, pardon me, or download 50 resumes to hope that one person's going to show up. And that stress level being reduced is a huge pain point right now in dentistry, not just for the practice owner, but for the overall team. That the team feels the practice owner's stress, especially when it happens like this. And it's not just for a day. That's the other part. It's not like, you come home and, honey, how did your day go? Oh, this is going to go on for a week or two if the guy, God forbid, got COVID and had to check out, right?
Yeah. And to it sounds like that it takes some of that, it improves the efficiency of this process too, because again, I go back to like that direct access. You can also read someone's reviews as well. So you don't have to find out for yourself if someone isn't the ideal fit for your office.
Correct. And for the most part, we've actually noticed that most of the professionals in offices, they're rated 4 stars or above. And none of this is other than 100% pure authentic reviews. Trey, the CEO of the company, brought an interesting point one time. He said the accountability feature that we built in kind of keeps everybody on track and performing well when the bookings are done, especially through the platform. And what we mean by that is the professionals are kept track as far as if they showed up on time or if they canceled with little or no notice. And I don't know if you saw when I was doing the quick demo, every professional has their bookings that they were late to or ghosted. It's a thing now, ghosting, where you just don't show up with short notice. And
Yeah.
yeah, and so that's all kept track of, and the professionals know that, and the ones that are looking for that ideal position, they're going to want to keep that profile fully optimized. And on the practice owners end, we keep their credit card on file. So if the practice cancels a booking that was done through Cloud Dentistry with, 1 day's short notice, the professional still gets their hourly rates paid that they were booked for. So there's that guarantee on both sides. And it keeps everybody accountable at the end of the day. It works out.
Yeah. So say that one more time, because that was pretty cool what you just said about they still get paid for their rate.
Yeah. So a professional that does a booking through the Cloud Dentistry platform would be entitled to have a protection guarantee that if the office cancels with short notice, I believe it's within a day, but double check when you register. Don't take my word exactly for it. It might be a day or 2 days. the what would happen is that the office's credit card on file would get automatically charged, and the professional would get the hours that they were booked for without showing up because it wasn't their fault that the office canceled with short notice.
Yeah, because then that blocks you from being able to get another secure position for the day if you think that you're being scheduled for that day.
Yeah.
I mean, I had that issue when I was a temp. I mean, I remember a time when my temp agency back in the day sent me to the wrong office location, and she's like, "No, you have the wrong day." And I'm like, "I have it written here and the email that you sent to me." This is with the middleman, right? And she made an error, and it was fine. But the fact is that I lost out a day of income, and because she couldn't find someone else somewhere else for me to go at 8:30 in the morning because all of her other fulfillments were, were covered. So it gives you that peace of mind. And I remember I was like trying to make rent and all those things. And it was so frustrating because I'm like, I showed up for work, I want to work. I'm ready to work.
Yeah. Well, we're all about empowering professionals, of course, at the same time providing a convenience to these practice owners to access these professionals. And with that said, the professionals have the right too to select if they want to be W-2 or they want to be 1099. However they decide to be classified with the office is up to them. We just provide the options here to get in touch with one another for work hire.
Yeah, you're just the vehicle by which that individual finds another person, basically.
Exactly.
You're that conduit.
There's no buyout, there's no middleman, there's nothing of that nature.
That's very unique because it's nothing like I ever heard of, which I loved the whole the rating system, the fractional time when you said that. And that too, it does hold people accountable. So how do if I'm a hygienist and I want to sign up with Cloud Dentistry, like what's involved in me doing that? Like how do I go to sign up?
Yeah, so just two ways. You can go to a desktop browser and go to clouddentistry.com and create a professional profile. It's 100% free. It takes less than 5 minutes. Please put a bio picture of yourself up because it's, although not required, 98% of the professionals have one. It humanizes your profile. Here's the other cool part about what we have to offer for professionals that are worried about, let's say, an office seeing their profile on the
Mhm.
marketplace. There's an option there where you can block a particular office out from ever viewing you. Very similar to how you can block someone on Facebook, essentially. And that would be a concern to very few, but still it is a concern out there. And there's also the second option, which is you could just go to the App Store and download the app. Most of our users do use the app, and just be in touch in terms of seeing the communications and stuff because we track the response rates on all this, and we have a point system that we've kind of gamified to help reward the people that are participating the most on the platform.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Cool. And then so through an app, both the provider, owner, doctor office can join the same way, do the same thing, and then they put in their search fields what they're looking for, and then how does it populate those people with that those hours that they're looking for based on the individual, or how does that work?
So the office, just as I was showing you the demo through that Houston account earlier, the office, as they're perusing through the marketplace, I like to call it, only sees professionals that are available and interested today to go work in that
Mm.
practice's zip code. The practice is seeing essentially people that are motivated to get started with work right away. It's not just people that uploaded their resumes that are window shopping, let's call it.
Okay. So they've said I'm available this day, this time, and then so they see those individuals. That's cool.
Yeah, there's three ways that you can get in touch with one another. You can either message them directly, you can book them directly. Theoretically, you could just book them without messaging them, or you could post a job, and the professional will be able to message you, the office, through the job posting.
Awesome. I know it's our time always flies by so quickly here. Any words of advice for the dental professional who's in the position for looking for employment or looking for their forever home? Any words of advice or for leadership communication?
That's that's a tough one, Kelly. I I feel like I should start this one off by saying some sort of like taboo joke, but since we're on Facebook Live, I'll avoid that. Uh, I think the best advice that I would give the professional is find a home where you can work with a benevolent practice owner or a system that's charitable to the staff around them and realizes that at the end of the day, it's the supporting cast that makes that movie the best picture. Go with that sort of culture, and you have the options out there. Working professionals, it's post-COVID era, people. You guys have many more options than you did before because you're way more in demand. So you might as well do things like, I hate to solicit myself, but go join Cloud Dentistry because you'll get more options that way, right? For example,
Yeah,
and options provide the ability for you to just increase the chances to find that perfect long-term solution for where you can call home.
exactly. Great advice. Great advice. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Darius. And then if someone wanted to get in touch with you to ask you more questions, is this your email address that's up here on the screen?
Yeah, Darius at clouddentistry.com is the best way to get in touch with me. I'm happy to schedule some time to chat or get you to the appropriate person.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being with us today. This has been so enlightening, and I hope that the viewers got something out of this, learned something different, got some great sage advice from Darius today. We'll
Thank
call
you.
you, Confucius. You're the knowledge base today for us.
Thank
So,
you.
so thank you. And then if you guys wouldn't mind doing me a favor, if you wouldn't mind going to Apple and giving our podcast a 5-star rating, it means a lot to us here. We look forward to seeing you guys in the community. Thanks for everything that you're doing. Thanks for listening to the Dental Handoff. Goodbye, everyone.